he told me, Amish ji, I immediately agreed because I've read your Shiva trilogy and I really like it. I said, my God, Rajnikant ji, saying he loves my books. But you must also acknowledge the courage of our ancestors who fought these buggers. Because if you think about it, every other ancient culture where these foreign invaders, Turks, and then later the Europeans, they went, every other ancient culture is dead. We're the only ones still standing. In my mind, one of the finest scenes I've seen in Indian cinema was in Talapati when he sees his mother for the first time. I don't know if you remember that scene.
I remember
he's following her.
Sonu Walia. Yes, Amish is back in studio. If you followed my extensive career, every time there is an Amish book out, he makes it a point, and I'm very blessed and honored to come into studio and do a dedicated interview with me. The Chola Tigers, Avengers of Somnath. For those of you watching us on video, you will see this amazing cover. For those of you who are watching us on pure audio, if you're driving, please don't pull over right now. We'll put it on YouTube so that you can have a look at the cover later. Welcome, my friend. Wonderful to see you.
Pleasure being here, buddy. It isn't a book launch till I'm here with Hrishi K.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much. You know, I was just thinking, Amish, and I said this to you at the book launch, but I have to say this for the radio audience and the YouTube audience. I mean, you got Rajnikant sir to inaugurate this one, and now if you just get the great Kamala Hassan to inaugurate the next one, every single Tamil in this world will owe you a debt of gratitude. You know, because it's just fantastic. And talk to me about that first, and we'll get into the book later. But just meeting Rajni sir and getting him to kind of give your blessings, give his blessings to this project.
Dude, one of the high points of my life, man. I don't know if I've told you this. I studied in Tamil Nadu in the 1980s. I was there in Lawrence School, Ooty. So I learned a bit of Tamil at that time. Still know the numbers. I know my accent is not perfect, but...
Did you study with a rogue called Sunny Utup, Auntie Usha Utup's son? Was he in your batch or little junior? I don't know.
No, I was there from 83 to 87, 88 around.
So he joined in 89, So maybe just after you.
Yeah, I'm old, man. I'm 50. Thanks for making that clear.
50 going on 25. So you know the aura of Rajnikant.
Oh, man. I discovered Rajnikant ji at that time. Okay. So I saw Chandramukhi in Tamil the first time without subtitles. You don't need it, man. It's a Rajnikant movie. And so I've always been a huge fan of his. In my mind, one of the finest scenes I've seen in Indian cinema was in Talapati when he sees his mother for the first time. I don't know if you remember that scene.
I remember Sonu Walia.
let me come back from the ephemeral
what is
to the ethereal.
What is the song in Talapati?
It was a lullaby.
Konjam Siru Chandralekha.
That's Chandralekha. That's Sonu Walia. I'm talking about that lullaby, which is playing in the background, and he's just following her in her temple. And that expression on his face, man, like he's desperate for his mother's love. I think one of the and to see someone like that, and I thought, listen, man, it'll be great if, it's my first book on a Tamil hero. What if he launches it? And I thought, why not? Aim for the stars. And I was introduced to him, and we went to meet him. Yeah, my wife Shivani and I. He very readily agreed. We went to his farmhouse outside Chennai, and very rarely do you meet a childhood hero and not get disappointed, right?
Yeah.
This man.
They always say don't meet your heroes because you stand to be disappointed. That's
this
right.
man is in a different league, man. He is among the greatest Indians alive. So polite, so humble. 10 a.m. we gave the time. Sharp, he was there. He was waiting outside his house. I was embarrassed because, the car turned. I thought I'd have some time to put on my jacket. And he was waiting outside. I got so embarrassed. I rushed out. I was pulling my jacket. He said, no, relax. It's okay. So polite, so humble. he told me, Amish ji, I immediately agreed because I've read your Shiva trilogy and I really like it. I said, my God, Rajnikant ji saying he loves my books. Like, whoa, man.
And he's a Shiv Bhakt.
He's a
you know,
devout
so-
Shiv Bhakt.
Devout Shiv
And he
Bhakt,
was
yeah.
saying, gee, man. I was like, yaar, mere upar paap lag raha hai. Rajnikant ji is calling. What a man. What a man. And he spent a good half an hour, 45 minutes with us. One of the high points of my life, man. He loved the cover. He also said something which I thought was poignant and deep. He said that I've always felt that the Cholas have been ignored by by the rest of the country when they were among the greatest Indian rulers ever. And I'm so happy because he said, I know you're from the north, I know you're from Varanasi, and you are writing a book which is showcasing the Cholas so well. And he said, this is something that, that makes us all Tamils proud. It's not just us celebrating, a North Indian is coming and celebrating, this as well. So he was very happy with that.
There is the traditional rivalry between the Cholas and the Pallavas. And speaking of Tamil cinema, it has often been used during election time for one party to hit at another party. For example, there's a famous lyric that goes, Raja Raja Cholandan pottu vecha road idu, அந்த ரோடுல தான் Pallavan bus ஓடுது. That means the Raja Raja Chola, which is Rajendra Chola's father, built these roads.
Yeah.
On those very roads, the Pallavans run their buses now.
But there are also different parts of Tamil Nadu.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I know enough to, we might be boring your guys, but essentially
not at all. This
the
is what they
Cholas are
love.
from the Kaveri Delta, the Pandyas from the Vaigai, Pallavas are from what is actually today's Chennai area, and the Cheras from the Coimbatore, Kerala area, right? If I remember my Tamil history correctly.
No, and most importantly, I mean, it's so well researched. You'll realize that when you pick this up. And credit to the Immortal Writers Center for helping Amish with this. The Immortal Writers Center would be, let's give credits.
Ram Sivsankaran and Bhavna Roy. So Ram Sivsankaran is a published author, brilliant guy. He helped me with the first draft. Then my sister Bhavna Di also worked it. Then I worked on it. So as you know, I've started a writer center because I have too many ideas for one lifetime, and I don't want to die without at least having a fair shot at finishing all my ideas. And so this is the second book from the Immortal Writers Center. The first one was Legend of Suheldev, and both the books are actually linked to each other. Suheldev and the Chola Tigers. So I, like with all my books, I leave clues.
Yeah.
So there's a clue in Legend of Suheldev which links to this, and vice versa.
I'm going to start.
They're independent books.
Yeah.
But you can read both and have twice the fun. No
You
such
must.
thing as too much marketing.
No such thing as too much Amish. Now, I want people to understand, especially people who live north of the Vindhyas, of the magnetism of King Rajendra Chola. This is a man who was known as the most powerful ruler on earth at one point in time. And much as Mahmud of Ghazni, which is the dreaded Turk with his barbaric activities, tried to harm India the way he did, destroyed the Somnath temple, because that's where this story takes off from. Rajendra Chola himself not only ruled vast swaths of South India, but also Southeast Asia. Talk about his kingdom first.
First of all, his empire was like much of South India, most of East India, because he defeated the Palas as well. The Palas, actually the north it would be Palas, not Palas. Sri Lanka, Andaman Nicobar, much of Southeast Asia. In terms of GDP, it was by far the largest at that time, because the only comparables were Song Empire, China, and the Caliphate. Terms of land, the Bay of Bengal was essentially Rajendra Chola's pond, man. Massive navy, huge empire, great business interests, built a new city, Gangaikonda Cholapuram. And he wasn't just a great conqueror, he was a brilliant scholar, he was a great builder. He built public infrastructure which lasts to this day. Among the things I like most about kings like Emperor Rajendra Chola and Emperor Bhosdev Parmar, who was also at the same time.
They are actually
were allies.
partners in this.
They are partners in this.
Attempt, this conquest. Yeah.
Parmar was from central, Bhosdev Parmar was from central India, what is today's MP, Chhattisgarh, parts of Rajasthan, etc. Their greatest monuments were not their palaces or their mausoleums. Their greatest monuments were the universities they built, or the temples they built, or public infrastructure like canals, like lakes. So in my mind, they actually represented what good kingship should be. Focus on the people, not just on your comfort. And it's really sad that they've not been covered either in popular in outside of Tamil Nadu, either in our textbooks or in popular culture. Yeah?
There's a beautiful line that you write saying, with Tamils or with South Indians, their clothes may be very, very simple, but their palaces and their temples and their universities are very opulent. Which is why
Palaces are not opulent. Palaces are very simple, but the temples
yeah,
and the universities.
which is
So,
the gopuram, the shaping, the carvings,
all the public
pristine.
stuff.
Yeah.
It's an interesting thing I've seen. The personal stuff is very understated and humble. The public stuff is very grand, right? What are the commons in a way? And it's a very interesting culture. Very often you find things the other way around in many other countries where the public stuff is like, chalo chal raha hai, but my private house will be freaking rocking. I'll have a gold bed or God knows what not, and be a walking, talking gold showroom, stuff like that, right? But out here it's the other way around, which I think is actually a nice culture to have.
What I love about your stories is that deep down inside, they're secular, and you are a secular human. I mean, you're a proud Hindu,
Yeah.
just as I am, but you find these incredible nuggets. How Indian Muslims also revered Somnathji,
Yeah.
Lord Mahadev in the Somnath temple, and how they were also shattered when the barbaric Mahmud of Ghazni, the Turk, came in and invaded and destroyed everything inside. How in Kerala, for example, the Ayyappan temple is again protected by Muslims.
There's a Vavar shrine
Vavar
close
shrine,
by,
yeah.
and they idolize Lord Ayyappa as well. The thing is, I think one of the misfortunes in our history, British colonial rule was in our history textbooks. British colonial rule is not called the Christian invasion, but the Turkic colonial rule is called the Islamic invasion. It's a very, very mischievous framing if you think about it. And K.K. Mohammed Saab, who's a brilliant archaeologist from Kerala, and obvious by the name Muslim.
Yeah.
And he had researched much of Lord Ram's archaeology, and he had because I'd done an interview with him, and he told me that Babar was an Uzbek. Okay, he has nothing to do with me. Okay, Lord Ram is mine, not Babar, right? And he said that with this framing, what was actually an Indian foreigner issue was converted into a Hindu-Muslim issue. And he said our ancestors were very clear. Chhatrapati Shivaji or Emperor Krishnadev Raya, when they used to fight these foreigners, they never used the term Muslim. And in their text, you can see, I don't know what they spoke, but in their text, when they wrote, they used the term Turushka, correct, which means Turk in Sanskrit. They were clear. Sadly, we are not in our modern thing. It's actually an Indian foreigner issue. We are very clear that the British were foreigners, right? We know it has nothing to do with Indian Christians. We are not so clear that what we call the Delhi Sultans and the Timurid Mughals were also foreigners. Some of them may have been decent, some of them terrible, okay, but they were foreigners. They called themselves foreigners. They were very clear. We are confused today.
Like your book also says, for example, that the Arabs were a little more civilized. The Persians were perhaps a little more civilized than what the Turks
of
were.
that era.
The Turks of that era were really barbaric, especially Mahmud of Ghazni's followers. And, they were indiscriminately killing people, and the whole, under the shroud of one faith, one light, they were creating, causing a lot of misdeeds around the planet.
Hrishi, and I describe them in detail because, again, one of the confusions that happens is, and you can't blame Hindi filmmakers because they've gone to the same schools, read the same history textbooks that we read.
True.
So they show Alauddin Khilji as Ranveer Singh, or
Akshay Khanna
as Aurangzeb, which is not what they look like.
Yeah.
Right? To us, they would have looked Chinese.
Mongoloid
features.
Yeah.
The Turks, Huns, Mongols, Scythians were all from the steppe lands of Central Asia. They all had Mongoloid features. They were among the greatest warriors the world had ever seen. They did very little besides killing. Game of Thrones, the Dothraki, Do you remember?
Of course, yes, yes.
It's largely based on the Central Asian warriors, actually, the Turkic warriors.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Temur, who was among the greatest Turkic conquerors ever, he killed 5% of the world's population in the 13th century. Think of in 13th century, no nuclear bombs, no dynamite, no machine gun. It was damn hard work to kill people. Okay, you had to stab, you had to behead. It was hard work, right? He killed 5% of the world's population with a relatively small army, right? They did nothing besides killing. And they didn't just come and destroy, attacked and devastated India. They devastated many other parts of the world. The high point of Arab culture, the Abbasid Caliphate, was also destroyed by these same warriors. They attacked China as well, Europe as well. They did nothing besides killing, right? And we should speak the truth of what happened. It has nothing to do with people today, but we must also acknowledge the courage of our ancestors who fought these buggers. Because if you think about it, every other ancient culture where these foreign invaders, Turks, and then later the Europeans, they went, every other ancient culture is dead. We're the only ones still standing. So, the way I see it, the last 1,000 years, which in our history textbooks, is shown as a history of repeated defeats. Because if we were losing every battle, why are we still alive? We won some as well.
True.
We should have been dead.
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
We won many as well. And to me, the story of the last 1,000 years is actually the story of the greatest resistance ever in human history by any indigenous group of people. We're the only ones who fought so long and so hard to keep our culture alive. And this book, The Chola Tigers, is one of those battles. There are various others as well. I want to recount as many of them as I can through the Indic Chronicles. So, acknowledge our great resistance.
Absolutely. And you know why Amish is so loved across the board as far as Indian novelists are concerned, and you know his reputation now goes far and wide, even internationally, is even though these are period books, there is so much of modernity in it. Someshwar is a Gujarati trader.
Yeah.
A trader who speaks the local language wherever he goes. It's like the Marwadis who came and settled in Chennai. And my brother's married to one of them, speak fluent Tamil. The Sindhis who came and settled in Bangalore after partition speak fluent Kannada. Business communities who had to do business.
Correct.
And Someshwar is obviously devastated by the Lord Mahadev's temple in Somnath being desecrated. And he says, I'm going to use the knowledge at my disposal and the wealth at my disposal to urge Rajendra Chola to fight the Mahmud of Ghazni. And I find that fascinating because it's business people who fund wars, whether it's right or wrong, is not what we're debating. Talk about that.
In this case, it was the right one.
It was the right one, yeah.
Yeah, look, often, yes, there are wars that are funded for business purposes as well. I'm a former diplomat, so I won't go into the more recent wars. One could argue that some of the wars being fought by the West were actually not supposed to be won. It was more a business opportunity for the weapons industry.
True, yeah.
But sometimes it's actually funded for a good purpose, like in this case. And I think we often, in the modern day where there's this cult of GDP, that apparently the only thing that matters is money, right? We tend to forget that for most of human history, money was important, but it wasn't the only thing. There were other things as well, which is what made you, which is what made a human being a complete human being. There is love for family, love for the gods, the society that you live in, all of that, and money, right? It's not only money, right? And if it becomes only about money, I think societies become unstable over time. They start breaking up. Look at some. I lived in the UK for 4.5 years, and if the entire focus of public culture of everything is just earn money and have fun, just fulfill every desire that you can, and earn money so that you can fulfill every desire.
The
that
Friday
you can.
to Friday living, yeah.
It sounds like a great life. You live that for many years and you realize actually it's a pretty useless life. And one is seeing that in action. It's not theoretical. One is seeing it in action.
Yeah.
So the thing that businessmen can think of things outside of profit as well is actually very common in most periods of history, because they are also human beings. And on that modern thing, I want to say, I think you would have loved it, because I know some people loved it, but some of them were like, what the hell is this? Because in one of the scenes, I wanted to have some fun, and I have a crazy sense of humor. So I put some jokes in there where Narasimhan tells Vijayan, the Sultan will be in dire straits soon. And then yeah, because he'll be a sultan on a swing.
Sultan on a swing,
Is the
yeah.
reply.
God bless
And like,
Mark Knopfler.
and some people were messaging me, dude, these songs couldn't have been there 1,000 years ago. I said, dude, do you have a sense of humor?
Yeah, of course. Come on. Yeah.
The funniest was, have you heard the sound of silence?
Sound of
Some uncle called Garf composed it.
He's referring, of course, to the Simon and Garfunkel classic Sound of Silence. I mean, this is beautiful and stuff that I'm just picking out at random what I loved about the book, and I don't want to give too many spoilers. I love the palace politics and intrigue. It is just fascinating. Where Mahmud of Ghazn's wife and his brother and his lover, who's the king of Lahore, all are embroiled in this palace politics.
Correct.
There are secret chambers, there's conversations, there's discussions, and of course, there are mysterious titles like the Butcher and the
Turkish
Caucasian,
Butcher, huh,
the
the
Caucasian, and things like that. A very James Bond meets Immortals of Melua. You enjoy that, don't you? I mean, I would imagine, even if today we were transported back into the palaces of ancient India, we'd be at home as Indians.
Look,
Palace politics become national politics.
technology shifts, technology grows, okay, with history, but the human condition does not change.
True.
Human emotions do not change. Um, and one of the things, at least, that I believe in is that you as a reader should. It's not my job to kind of show off my research. It's my job to make it easy for you to read, right? And learn some of the philosophies that I'm trying to convey in an easy manner. So, which is why I try and put in, what are actually human, which I'm betting would have existed at that time as well, man. We are human beings. We don't. Our tech may evolve quicker, but we evolve much more slowly, right? Which is why I try and use modern names as well, so that it's easy for you as a reader. And those twists and turns that are there, I think that happens in life as well, man. Often you get shocked by what happened, and and अरे ये twist कैसे आ गया, वो twist कैसे आ गया. Sometimes it happens in modern geopolitics also. I think it's just fun to read, especially that twist about. I won't give you a spoiler, but and you'll know that, because at the end, I had that book ready, I had the manuscript ready a year back, and there was this one particular character, that character, who was actually almost screaming at me that I've only got him at a surface level. There is a deeper story, and I'm not covering that. And there's this line that he says at the end, that her name was Sarah, and first time I got that, I actually started crying. Okay. And this was like little more than a year back. I was ready to submit to HarperCollins. And I was like, no, man, I need to give this guy his real voice. Otherwise, he just comes across as an a-hole.
True.
And so I had to rewrite the full damn thing, because he's there in so many scenes.
Correct.
And I'm glad I did that, because I think one of the most fascinating characters I've written. The Caucasian.
And that ache is lingering. Yeah.
And essentially, he's the Caucasian. And you get it at the end why he did everything that he did.
True.
Yeah.
The genesis of this book obviously is, like you said, from Zuhail Dev stems the Chola Tigers, Avengers of Somnath. But also there are so many nuggets or communities that you still feel for. The Turks have changed, obviously. They're not the barbarians they used to be. But the plight of the Yazidi slaves is still something that, it just melted my heart. Because here is a community that have been tormented for centuries, as it were, to this day.
And they're being ignored completely. I heard of them when I was in the UK. I read up on them, and my God, it's terrible.
And one thought it was only the ISIS,
No,
but it stems back
it
to
stems
to
back.
this era.
Yeah, it's been going on for centuries, because they worship an idol, in the form of a peacock. Their god has kind of peacock features, Melek Taus. They've been oppressed, tortured for centuries, and really, there's just been airbrushed out. And even the latest, I mean, all the slavery that ISIS was doing was actually of Yazdi women. They massacred many Yazdi men. Only a few of them have survived. It's terrible, and it's just been airbrushed out of our narrative today. Terrible, terrible. And countries need to help those poor people. Really, the Yazdis, among the worst suffering of the Middle Eastern people.
True. And the warfare, the art of warfare as described in Amish novels is fascinating. The Cholas obviously were very strong at sea, having conquered many lands by sea. But at the other end of the spectrum, you have the Turks, Mahmud of Ghazni in particular, who are in the mountains the other side of Kandahar.
Yeah, sure.
And this is unfamiliar territory or terrain for the Cholas, which is why they undertook guerrilla warfare of a sort, and I'm not going to get into the details. But that kind of large-scale warfare and war planning, I mean, do you enjoy that? Have you always
I love
enjoyed
it.
that?
I love it.
Are you the kinds who read World War II picture books and things like
Yeah,
that?
tons of things. I love reading old warfare books and assassination attempts and how people die. And I'm not a violent guy, but I love reading about all that. I think it just I've always had a fascination and interest in it, and I guess it just comes out in the books. That how killing is done, how set piece battles would be. Then if it's an assassination attempt, it's a completely different way of fighting. And look, readers by their very nature tend to be more intelligent, right? If I'm writing it can't appear, yeah, ऐसे थोड़ी कोई मारता है, ये क्या है? So it has to be credible, right? The fact that while you're stabbing or while you're cutting, if you don't have enough force, it might get stuck in the bone, right? The blade. These things happen. This is a part of war, right? And these, I think, it just makes the scenes more real. From what I've been told, many of my women readers don't necessarily like this too much. They like it's a cliche, but at least from many of the women I've seen, they like the Amal Vijayan romance. They found it very sweet. He's saying he's such a wooden guy. You almost feel like taking care of him. He's so sweet.
No, but I have to say this, that when you talk of one-to-one combat and you talk about those tendons and how they're spliced, and you get into the technical medical terminology during a battle, I find it very fascinating. I said, man, this is research.
And that thing of that defanging a snake, it's an actual sword. It's an actual knife fighting technique.
What he's referring to actually is Narasimhan, who's the general for Rajendra Chola, and his move. It's like one of those 36 chamber of Shaolin, except that it's very Indian. The defanging of the snake. And of course, there are all these little nuggets of how somebody's Adam's apple is being crushed. Sorry, all you lady readers who don't like that, or male readers don't like that. And how you sever and make a knee completely
immobile by just cutting at one part. So you don't have to do too much work. Just cut that one part, and that leg is immobile.
So who's your medical consultant? Your surgical consultant.
Or a cut at one part of the hand, and the fingers can't move. Right. So you've essentially made his sword arm useless because he can't move his fingers. What's the point? Right. That's what defanging the snake is. You just cut, and these are actually techniques. And luckily I just read about it. Don't have to practice it. I fear those who actually live that kind of life.
Yeah, man, I can imagine. So, I know for a fact that you are a big Lord Shiva Mahadev devotee. Are these books, do you literally, and I want to use Hindustani Hindi in this, saying, is this your samarpan to Lord Mahadev each time around? Do
Oh,
you
yeah.
put a prayer and say, make this happen?
There's a lovely Sanskrit line, Yadyat karma karomi tatadakilam shambho tavaradhanam, that every act of mine, my Lord Shambho, my Lord Shiva, is a prayer in your honor. I know some people might find it strange, it's okay. But for me, it gives me tremendous peace. Uh, and this is not out of disrespect for any atheist or, everyone has a right to follow the path. And in our way, in any case, there's freedom for all paths, right? What path gives you momentum and peace? This gives me momentum and peace. I think my books are, even today, I still can't explain where it comes from, man. It just comes. The only way it makes sense to me is it's Lord Shiva's blessings.
I'm
It just
wondering,
comes.
I know that the OTT guys and the movie guys have been approaching and things like that. But I wonder if you've ever thought of a grand on-stage theatrical. People have made, for example, Lilette Dubé has made the Mahabharata musical, where, the Mahabharata, you have characters singing. Then Ashwin Gidwani, who's another theatre producer, came to me and said he's made Sai the musical, which is the story of the Sai Baba. Have you ever thought of your books being grand theatrical theatre performances, like a Broadway or a Soho kind of performance? I don't
It
know.
could be, man. I mean, let's see. Very good idea. Um,
I think it's worth exploring.
I think it certainly is. And if you think about it, I mean, I think just that story, just the Ravan story, just that, as a separate musical, because Ravan as a character
Or even if
feeds
it's
into
not
the
a
theatre
musical,
persona.
even
Yeah.
if it's a theatrical production.
Yeah,
I mean,
could be fun.
music, yeah, it could
Could
be
be
fun.
fun. One of the and Shiva trilogy Ramchand series, I guess, has too much story for one theatre performance.
Yeah.
But if you pick just one book, good idea. One will think about it.
Yeah, I will never ask for royalty for ideas because you've always been so kind. So listen, I just want to know about your extracurricular activities, which have now become your mainstay. Also, you're equally an author as well as an anchor. So I know that the documentary happened, which was on Discovery, National
Yeah.
Geographic, which I really enjoyed, where you took people through salient places of the Ramayana. What else has happened after that?
So that was the first time I was ever in front of the camera, hosting in a way, and otherwise it's just interviews and all that. And to my surprise, actually, that did very well. It was the biggest hit for Discovery for the year, and among the biggest documentaries ever. So they did a second season of that as well, called Legends of Shiva. The first one was Legends of the Ramayana, and then Legends of Shiva, which also just released last year, which also did very well. I hosted and produced a documentary on the Ram Janmabhoomi temple. It released in 24, which was the biggest documentary of the year, and in fact, one of the top non-fiction shows of the year. The only ones who beat us in terms of viewership were Big Boss and the Kapil
Wow.
Sharma show and Shark Tank. That's it.
Wow.
They were-
Which platform is it on?
This is on Geo, Amazon, various others, but largely on Geo, NDTV, everywhere it was broadcast. And this was actually a serious documentary. You don't expect it to be in that,
Yeah.
because documentaries don't hit the, the
It's not mainstream entertainment, as it
yeah,
were.
yeah, it's yeah. So so surprise. The Journey of India I've done. I've hosted with Amitabh Bachchan ji and Mahakumbh Tales with Amish on NDTV. It's surprising. It's just grown by by itself. I'm doing other stuff as well. I have co-founded a game with Amitabh Bachchan ji and Noordin Abood, who's an ex-Ubisoft guy, one of the biggest game producers in the world, and it's called Age of Bharat. It'll be the first AAA video game on an Indian subject. It'll be,
Mr. Bachchan loves his sport, all kinds of sport,
oh
right?
yeah. And his son is an avid gamer, as is my son. So I'm very excited by this project because my son Neil suddenly thinks I'm cool, man. Love you, Neil. He's like, author, wo sab theek hai. Dad, you're a gaming founder. Wow.
How cool is that, lovely? A travel destination that you went to and you said, "Wow." I mean, are you still only working, or have you given yourself once a year? I'm going to Shivani and me will go and discover a place or, go
No,
travel.
we travel, yeah. So, and often that travel ends up being work also because it's research. We went to Egypt recently.
You go to the library in Alexandria?
Everywhere. And we also did a river cruise. It was great fun, man. And you can imagine someone like me in a history place. So I drove poor Shivani mad because I wanted to walk to every place, see everything, ask every question. We had hired a guide who actually traveled with us everywhere, who was actually a
So you went to
an
Aswan
assistant.
everywhere.
Yeah, and he was an assistant professor at one of the universities.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. So you don't want to, I hate going to a place where the guide is, and often these guys, they don't know what they're talking about. And if I've read up that stuff already and he says something which is obviously wrong, I actually start arguing with that guy. What the hell is this? This is not true, right? So much better to actually get a knowledgeable person and who will travel with you and actually you will
Lovely.
learn.
And what a culture, man. The Coptic Christians,
Oh.
the Egyptian Muslims, it's a lovely ancient culture.
Yeah, and it's the architecture, everything in there.
The museums, the mummies.
museums, Only mummies, no daddies.
That's a good
That
one.
was a school joke. Sorry for the PJ.
And a concert that you went to recently, did you enjoy any concert that you went to? Or when you were a diplomat during the London years? I don't know.
In the London years, yes, I went for some concerts. Actually, in the last year and a half, I haven't. Shivani went for the Coldplay concert with some friends of mine, and I was traveling, so I couldn't go. Bhavesh, Raj, and Shivani, and a few others they'd gone. I haven't been to one in a year and a half. Damn, shame on me. but in London I had, because we used to have these great concerts at Hyde Park.
Yeah, I was just asking.
That was
Hyde Park concerts
and
are
I
lovely.
lived close by, right? I lived in Mayfair, so one could just walk across, and it was suitably messy. It was Hyde Park, and you could go to the loos out there, but it was close to home. So so just go, just be there for an hour, enjoy the concert, and then come back home. But that was great.
Lovely. What are you listening to? Is it still the Floyds and the Dire Straits and things like that, or has Neil put you onto some of his stuff?
Neil, and I think the last time we met, or actually before last time, at that time he was on One Direction, right?
Yeah,
He's
they're
16
amazing
16
melodies.
now.
Simon Cowell, what he's done with that band is unprecedented.
Yeah.
Lovely.
But that was actually many years ago. Because now at 16, Neil thinks, One Direction, Dad, they're like, and he uses those terms.
Boy bands.
Yeah, they're boy bands. They're not real. They're not serious. I'm like, okay. And he's into deep hardcore rock now, okay.
Lovely.
So Metallica. I'm like enjoying Metallica with
The
Neil,
OGs,
man.
yeah.
Yeah, the OGs.
That
He's
black,
discovered
that black album which
Yeah.
has Enter Sandman and Wherever I May Roam. It's
man.
just nothing else matters.
And Nothing else matters. Guns
It's
N'
just
Roses.
a black cover with a scorpion on it. It's just fantastic.
Guns N' Roses, Van Halen, Led Zeppelin, man,
Good.
with
You've
my
gotten
son.
into old school rock.
I didn't get him into it. He discovered it himself. And he says, Dad, I need you to hear this. And then he plays Guns N' Roses. I said, dude, this is from my time. What the hell?
But I was here at the Mumbai concert. Slash was in tremendous form because as a guitar player, his skills were just bang on. But Axel's losing his voice, man.
Yeah, he's getting
and you feel
old, man.
terrible. You feel terrible as a fan, He couldn't, he used to growl.
Yeah.
And those high pitches were just, anyway, but at least we got to see them live.
Yeah.
So it was wonderful. Guys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, the Chola Tigers, Avengers of Sonmarth, is in all on-ground and online stores. Amish in fine form. Please go get it and remember to thank me for putting you onto it if you're living under a rock. Thank you for rolling by, brother. Lots of
Thanks,
love.
thanks.
Lots of love. This was special.
Thank you.
94.3 Radio 1.